So I'm just going over my axes from my Benchtop Pro 2436 order that I just got still. Just checking all the nuts and bolts and making sure everything is tight. Tried to deal with the warped ball screws as much as I could. I didn't really mess with the other ones, but I did get the other one that was about 1.25 mm worth of run out from one extreme to the other. I got it within about 0.35 millimeters now, just by kind of, I disconnected the carriage plate from the trucks and the ball screw nut, moved everything out of the way, and used my digital indicator as good as I could to find the high spot, find the bend basically, and push against it using my hands. And took about all the strength I had in my hands, but I got it pretty good. I've been bending metal a lot in my life, so I kind of got it pretty close. Now it matches the other ones pretty closely, but I'm real glad I'm going over these things and making sure everything is tight, because I found a lot of the screws are loose. So I'm not sure what the heck they do over there for quality control, Avid CNC, but if I find too many more things wrong with this thing, I'm gonna have to send it back. I'm not feeling very good about this thing with what I'm finding on these axes. A lot of the screws on the linear rails have been pretty much loose, ready to fall out. And I can't imagine having this thing all set up in the middle of a job and one of these screws backs out and then the truck tries to move over it and I just lost my job, and I don't get it. Real expensive machine. I had high hopes for it. I like the way everything is machined and everything, but they use the high wind linear rails, which is supposed to be a good company, but even looking at some of the milling ops they've done on some of these rails, I don't know what's going on, but some of the holes, like oblong, like they had to hit it a couple times, like they missed their mark or something, and had to come down 2 times on it with a mill or something. I don't know. It's just weird. But this is the heart and soul of this machine. All these axes right here, and that axis over there had end shake when I grab the carriage and move it. Just bumping it back and forth like that, I could hear a click, 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 click. And it was basically end shake. It wasn't backlash. I was afraid that it might have been just a loose ball screw nut, but it's the jam nut, or whatever you call that. This is the nut that bolts bolts it axially to the ball bearing here. This is the nut that does that. So there's threads on there, and then there's set screws that once you get it down, you got these set screws that lock it so it won't back out. So I'm just going to show you every single one of these screws. These set screws is basically finger tight or less. and that would explain why I had the backlash, or the end shake. So this is no joke how tight these things are. I've got this thing in there. I got 2 fingers on it. That's literally how tight these things are from the factory. So I can turn the nut now, you know, without even having the ball screw move. So yeah, so basically when that's not tight, you end up with end shake here. You can hear it now. That's because of this nut being loose. So that'll basically act like backlash in your work. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how long it takes for these guys to go over these things a little better and get these screws a little tighter, but like I said, a lot of these screws, not all of them, I'd say maybe 90% of them are pretty tight, but there's some essential screws. These are real essential screws here. And even these, you know, the screws that are holding the ball bearing in, some of these things are just, you know, I haven't touched these yet on this axis. You know, that one's pretty tight, I guess. That one's pretty good. I guess maybe these ones are good. Oh, no. That was all it took, and this one's loose. I mean, that's from the factory. So, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed here. All 4 of my ball screws are warped. And, yeah, I just expected more. That's all. I mean, everything's machined well. I mean, I like everything. I really like the look of them. But, you know, this is the heart and soul here of these machines. And, yeah, if you guys ever get any of these machines from them, the pre-assembled parts, like the axes or whatever, don't assume that everything is good to go with that. Take them apart and do what I'm doing and go over them, because this is very poorly put together. All of these axes are very poorly put together. I'm just going to come out and say it. I've been trying to be kind and polite with this company. I've been trying to hold them in high regard, but I'm just going to come out and say it. These things are poorly put together from Avid CNC, and they don't do, from the looks of it, they don't do a thing to try to straighten their ball screws. So they were mismatched. Some were way worse than others. But anyway, I'm just trying to save everybody a lot of headache by just going out of my way to just get this thing as, you know, calibrated as it can be, I guess, within my means of ability here, so that I can start making parts. You know, I ain't gonna have to deal with sending them in and waiting for other parts to come back. Anyway, so that's where I'm at with it. It seems like the more I go into this, the more like an onion, you know, and peel layer after layer, you know. I hope I get to the end and I don't discover anything more, because I ain't gonna take much more before I send this thing back. So, alright, just wanted to give you all an update. Take care, guys.